Hi there. When we're looking at operations and production, you're bound to come across a term called just-in-time production, or JIT. So let's spend 2 or 3 minutes looking at what we mean by just-in-time. Well, the key thing to remember is that just-in-time, or JIT, is a method of lean production. And the aim is to organise production so that the inputs into the production process, such as raw materials and components, only arrive when they're needed in production, rather than being sat in a warehouse for days or weeks or months. The objectives of just-in-time are twofold. Firstly, to organise production so that waste is eliminated and minimised. But secondly, and perhaps just as importantly, to try and organise production so that it's highly productive, thereby reducing unit costs. Well, how does it work? Well, essentially, it works on the basis of customer orders determining what inputs you need into the production process, called a pull system. And with some complex, specialist, technical organisation, always software driven, the production process identifies what inputs are required, and then logistics sort out to make sure that those inputs are there when they're needed. So the supplies are only delivered into production, onto the production line in the factory, as and when they're needed. As you can imagine, that's very complex. It requires some very specialist expertise and software, and it requires very close cooperation with suppliers who are reliable and can deliver in accordance with the requirements of just-in-time. It all started with Toyota. Toyota's often, well, not often, it is seen as being the start, the innovator, with their famous Kanban system that has been the inspiration for just-in-time. And I've just picked out a nice quote from the Toyota website that tries to explain what just-in-time means. And very succinctly they say it's about making only what is needed, when it's needed, and in the amount needed. And you can see from that, therefore, that should help eliminate waste. JIT fairly widely used, particularly in more complex and larger scale manufacturing processes. Fairly recently, the debate around Brexit has focused on the use of JIT by the UK automotive sector, a highly efficient, highly productive manufacturing sector in the UK. But they have concerns that delays to the flow of components, in particular across the borders, could significantly damage their highly efficient JIT systems here in the UK. So let's just quickly spend a minute just thinking about what the upsides, the benefits are, and the potential drawbacks or difficulties with JIT. Well, we've mentioned 2 or 3 of the benefits already. Firstly, if you get it right, it means that you're holding lower stock. We just produce what's needed when it's needed, therefore not having to hold large amounts of stock of work in progress as well as finished goods. Therefore, there's a working capital or cash flow benefit by holding lower inventory. And another consequence of that is that we're less likely to have obsolete inventory. Another benefit of JIT is that by this relentless focus on highly efficient production scheduling, you should find there's less time and less cost involved in getting the work done right first time. The drawbacks essentially arise out of, firstly, the complexity of JIT. It really isn't easy to do, and don't underestimate how difficult JIT is to organise. It means that the business is highly reliant on suppliers, and clearly if they are not able to deliver the required inputs on time, the whole production schedule can either be delayed or stopped. And also there is, I guess, a downside or a drawback, which is that it may be harder to respond to sudden increases in demand if the JIT system is not able to respond in terms of adding extra inputs into the production process. But I think generally the key drawback, if it is a drawback, the challenge of JIT is that it's incredibly complex, not easy to do. Therefore, for small businesses, don't just simply argue the case for introducing JIT because it's complex as well as costly. But there we go, there's just an overview of the concept of just-in-time production.